Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into one of the biggest questions we can possibly ask. We're going to look at spiritual traditions from all over the world to try and piece together a map of a soul's journey in that first year after it leaves the physical body. So let's get into it.
It's the ultimate mystery, right? The heart stops beating, we take our last breath. But is that it? Is it just lights out? Well, spiritual accounts say it's not the end at all. It's actually the beginning of a whole new kind of awakening. So the journey really kicks off with this first, absolutely critical step, the separation. This is the moment our consciousness, our soul, begins to detach from the physical body it's known for its entire life. And what's really fascinating here is that this isn't an instant thing. It's not like flicking off a light switch. It's described as this gradual, energetic release. Think about it. A lifetime of experiences, emotions, memories, it's all tangled up in our physical form, and it takes time to gently untie that knot. So many traditions talk about this silver cord. You can think of it as this energetic lifeline that connects our soul to our body. As this cord thins out and eventually breaks, that's when the final, definitive separation happens. For some souls, it's super peaceful. But for others, especially those who are really attached to the material world, it can be pretty confusing.
This quote just nails the potential shock of that moment. Can you imagine? Suddenly you're aware, you're conscious, but you're floating above your own body. You can see everything, hear everyone, but you can't interact. Talk about a profound shift in your reality.
So, once that detachment is complete, where does the soul go? You might be surprised. For a little while, it doesn't really go far at all. It actually stays very, very close to the life it just left behind.
This timeline gives us a really clear roadmap of the journey we're exploring. We just covered that initial detachment. Next up, we're going to dig into the first 7 days, then the 40-day review, and finally, what happens when that one-year circle closes. So during this first week, the soul is basically an invisible observer. It might follow its family around, hang out near its own body, or even show up at its own funeral. Wild, right? And it feels all the emotions of the living, all that grief and love, but it's struggling to figure out why no one can see or hear them. It's this really intense time of processing from a totally new viewpoint.
Then we get to the 7th day. And this isn't just a random marker of time, it's seen as a major energetic milestone. The last little magnetic ties to its old life start to dissolve. And if the soul has begun to accept what's happened, a new path forward, a portal, can start to open up, inviting it to move on.
Okay, so after leaving the immediate area of its old life, the soul then goes on this deeply personal internal journey. This is the big one, a full, comprehensive review of the entire life it just lived.
Now let's be really clear about this. This isn't about being judged by some higher power. Not at all. It's about self-understanding. The soul relives every choice it made, but here's the key part. It feels the echo. It experiences the joy, the pain, the love that its actions caused in other people from their perspective. And spiritual guides are there, not to punish, but to help the soul learn and grow from it all.
As a result of this incredible life review, this new, deeper understanding, that grip of earthly attachments just naturally starts to weaken. The focus shifts from what the soul had to what it was. All the illusions of the ego just start to fall away.
So now the soul is lighter, more conscious, and it's finally ready for the next phase of its adventure, traveling from the earth plane into the different dimensions of the spiritual world.
So, how does it get there? Well, it travels through what are described as spiritual portals. But don't picture a physical doorway. It's all about frequency. The soul is just naturally drawn to a destination that matches its own vibration, its own state of consciousness. You know the saying, like attracts like? That's exactly what this is.
And the destinations can be pretty different. Some traditions describe these amazing spiritual colonies, which are like organized centers for healing and more learning. Others talk about astral planes. These are different levels of reality that can be really luminous and beautiful or kind of dense and heavy, just reflecting the soul's inner state. A lot of souls also pass through transition zones, which are kind of like spiritual triage areas where they get some guidance on what's next.
But what about us, the people left behind? Does that connection just break? Nope, not at all. In fact, our emotions, what we're feeling down here, have a direct and really powerful influence on the soul's journey over there.
Wow, this slide really shows the contrast, doesn't it? On the one hand, if we're stuck in desperate, heavy grief, it can act like spiritual chains, literally holding the soul back and keeping it confused. But on the other hand, when we can feel loving remembrance, It's like we're handing them a torch, lighting their path forward and helping them find peace. And once a soul is free and settled, they absolutely can and do visit. These connections might come through in those super vivid dreams that feel like a real meeting. Or maybe it's the more subtle stuff, a whiff of a familiar scent, hearing a meaningful song at just the perfect moment, or a sudden gut feeling that keeps you safe.
And all this brings us to the 1-year mark. This is seen as another huge milestone. It's like the final closure of this whole energetic cycle. By this time, most souls are really settled in their new reality. And for us, the living, it's often the point where that sharp, raw pain can start to transform into a more serene, loving memory.
So that brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. If death isn't really the end of our connection, but just a change in its form, what does that mean for us, right here, right now? It suggests that every act of love, every moment of forgiveness, every real connection we build in this life, it doesn't just shape our time here, it echoes far, far beyond it.